Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast here to tell you about Michelob Ultra Courtside. It's getting fans closer to the NBA with a chance to win prizes like courtside seats, a trip to All-Star Weekend, and much more. Check it out at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access, Courtside 24-25 sweepstakes, no purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 and up. Begins on October 1st, 2024, ends July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/courtside for free entry deadlines, and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, so I figured, you know what? Nah, bro, let's do something Reddit related. But let's not do another relationship advice episode. Let's just do a strictly advice episode. I feel like if I have done this, hold on for a second. Have I joined the community? I have not joined the community. So yeah, I know I haven't just done just a strict, like, you know, just giving out advice. No, it's cause no, I was all like, you know what? No, that's something where I'm like, I would like to do is to get more involved on Reddit. You know, I feel like at one point in time I was. But, yeah, I you know, I don't know, like, I just kind of, you know, just disappeared from the Reddit scene and stuff, so, no, man, you know, I figured, I'm like, all right, let me just go ahead, look up advice, see which, ones pop up, you know, up until I see something that might be a little bit too weird, and then, yeah, you know, just go on from there. So, anyways, yeah, so this one, it's just like relationship advice, but it's just called strictly, it's just advice, it's not, relationship advice. But I will do relationship advice episodes in the future. Just right now, I wanted to do an advice one. So anyways, first one, this one, so the person goes on to say, I went on a date with somebody today. I thought it went well. I messaged him and he hasn't responded. Dang, that is messed up. So they go on to say, I went to a brunch date with the guy I met on Tinder. He was nice and we had a nice brunch. He walked me to my car, then just shook my hand and said goodbye. I went home and messaged him to thank him for the brunch. He hasn't responded. Now I'm all paranoid that I said or did something wrong. What do you think? Yeah, that's something where, you know, and it's funny because I feel like I kind of have something like this myself, and I remember them talking about it in the Wayans Brothers, where you will be like, I guess, really into somebody, and then just out of nowhere, it's like just something in your brain triggers you to just give up for some reason. And I don't know why it's like that. Like, I find myself doing that at times, and I'm like, fam, what is wrong with me? This is a good person. Like, I don't know why. And it's like a commitment anxiety thing where it's like, I don't know, like the person, I guess, can't get over somebody, and then, yeah, overall, because that's how they did in the Wayans Brothers, and I think, yeah, that's, you know, partially what's wrong with me is that there's a part of me, like, and that's the crazy thing about it is, like, I can move on. I can just be all like, hey, you know, whoever it was in the past, like, I moved on from that situation. I will not, like, you know, overall fool around with that person no more. But I don't know. It's like, I just think that when there's a wound that needs to be closed, then, and that's the thing where it's like, I don't want to put that off on somebody else. So I think that's more so my issue is that whatever I got going on, I don't want that to be somebody else's problem, you know? So yeah, it's like to whoever my future wife is, I'm like, yeah, it's something where I'm like, you know, if you're wondering like, what's wrong with this man? Like he's nice, but it just seems like he's holding back. Like, it's not you. It's no. That's, yeah. It's definitely one of those things where it's like it's not you. It's me, and I got issues that I need to solve. But yeah, overall, it's just one of those things where I don't know. Like it's weird. But it could be that. It could just be on some stuff where it's like I don't know. Maybe the guy was expecting you to, I don't know, like, go home with him, and that if that's the case, then it's like, nah, bruh, don't fool around. Don't fool around with a guy like that. If you at that point in time in your life where you want to settle down, get married, have kids, get a family dog, cat, you know, gerbil, I'm saying hamster, rat. I don't know. I felt like there's some people out there that have pet rats and things. It's weird, but I mean, hey, you know, there's just some people out there. They live life on the edge, all right. But Yeah, I mean, there could be many reasons on why that guy's not responding. If he's not, then that's just one of those things where it's like, you just gotta like move on from the situation. Then I feel like it's like another relationship. Well, I mean, it's like some dating advice, like I guess but I mean, that could be just overall life advice. Like it could be with friends, family. Like if you try getting involved in somebody's life and they just don't even want to be bothered with you anymore, then yeah, it's all like, okay, well, I'm not going to sit around and, I guess like if you expected me to like worship the ground that you walk on, I'm not doing that. And there's been times where I've had to cut people off for that reason. I'm like, if you're expecting me to be this like overly excited puppy every single time, no, bruh, I'm going to be flat out Cujo. I'm gonna bite you on your ankle, okay? Like, okay, maybe not all that, but I'm just saying though, jokes aside, yeah, I'm not with that. I'm not with the whole, like, and I guess, like, I don't know, and the thing is this, like, I felt like that at one point in time, like, I was doing that, like, there was one particular friend where I felt like that too, where I felt like I just wasn't giving them any attention, and it's something where I'm like, man, it got to a point where that friend didn't even want to be friends with me anymore. Like, I remember them messaging me, and they was all like, oh, I think it's best if we just don't be friends. And it's crazy because I remember, like, that hurt. That really did hurt me. And then I remember at some point in time, I had messaged them just to see how they were. Like, I know people will probably be all like, that's kind of weird. Don't you think you still kept their number? I know. But overall, though, like, we're friends. And I have to say, like, I definitely have more respect for the friendship now than I did before. I'm like, yeah, this is a friend where I'm like, no, I don't want to lose this friend, pretty much. I should let them know that. I'm like, you're one of those friends I don't want to lose in life. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna text my friend that right now. I'm like, I'm gonna just let them know. I'm like, hey, you're greatly, hold on for a second. Wait a minute, because I feel like just starting it off that way. Just wanted to let you know that you are greatly appreciated, and I don't ever want to lose you as a friend.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
No, not a laugh anymore, bro. I'm telling you, like, I'll send emojis and stuff, and I'm like, I wanted to send, like, the praise hands. I almost sent the laughing emoji, and I'm like, that would have been horrible. I gotta stop myself from doing that at times, but yeah, I had to text that friend now. I just had to let them know. I'm like, hey, you greatly appreciate it, alright? So, anyways, next one, this one, I told my husband I'm struggling, and he fell asleep. Huh, dang, I'm like, bro, that's some, like, I don't know, I feel like if I'm having a serious conversation with somebody, I'm awoken, I'm awake at that point, like, I can't just fall asleep in things, like, and having a serious conversation at that. I don't think I've ever fallen asleep I've fallen asleep during conversations before, but I ain't never just, fallen asleep. I ain't never, it's funny, that friend just texted me back saying they were just watching my videos. I'm like, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's one of those friends where I'm like, nah, you can't just lose, you can't lose friends like that, alright? So, anyways, hold on for a second, because they blowing up my phone, and I ain't trying to disrespect their messages, but I'm also trying to lock in on this episode, so anyways, because my Apple Watch is going crazy, so, but, no, anyways, so I'm gonna read this. How much time do I have left? Okay, I think I can read this and maybe a couple of more. But anyways, so she goes on to say, I finally gave in to my husband asking what's wrong after repeatedly telling him everything was fine. Been really good at shoving it down and putting on a fake smile my whole life. I feel that. But anyway, she goes on to say, but I've been struggling over the past 3 to 4 months, telling the voice inside my head to shut up after it telling me I wasn't good enough. Yeah, that's hard. That's one of those things. That's one of those things where it's like, nah, I feel like that at times, and it's the worst. Like, it really is the worst, where it's like you do so much, but there is something in your head telling you, like, it's not enough. And I'm like, fam, I don't know, like with me, I have it to where I'm trying to turn it into something positive, where I'm like, overall, like, I'm gonna put in this work until I feel like that it's enough. And then, yeah, it's something where I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's not good, a good thing to do, but overall, it's like, yeah, it's just something where I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and, it's like, kind of like, I don't know, like a lock-in thing for me. I'm like, I'm just trying to be the best I could possibly be, so anyways. But then she goes on to say, not a good enough mother, not a good enough wife, not a good enough friend, not good enough. I told him, no, that's the thing. Whoever this person is, I'm like, trust me, you're a good enough mother, you're a good enough wife, a good enough friend. It's life. Like, that's one of those things where I feel like people allow their lives to get the best out, to get the best of them. And I'm like, fam, that's something where I'm like, look, there are people out there in far more worse situations than you. There are people out there they could be in a better situation than yours, but still have like a lot of problems and things, So, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just, life be lifing at times. And it gets to a point where I'm all like, dang, bro, can I just relax for a moment? So, yeah, definitely don't put yourself down. I get it. Like, like I said, life can be lifing. But, yeah, it's like, don't put yourself down over it, though. It's like, trust me, you is doing more than fine, all right? So, to whoever this person is. But anyways, then there was like, having no one else, I'd be comfortable enough to talk about it. Wait a minute. Not having no one else I'd be comfortable enough to talk to about it. You think I'd be able to talk to the person I've chosen to spend the rest of my life with? So I did. Told them I'm struggling. The inside voice getting louder. You're not good enough. They'd be better off without you. Nah, that's a lie. That's a lie you're telling yourself. So but she goes on to say, I would not do that. I cannot do that to the people I love. But instead of talking to me, he fell asleep on the couch. WTF. I've never talked about this to anyone. The voice would come here and there since high school, but it's been getting louder than it ever had before. Honestly, I don't know what to do. I've been praying that it'd go away like it always has. That's messed up. That's something where I'm like, yeah, I definitely would have to have a conversation with the husband if I'm that wife, and I'm like, yeah, you can't do that no more. I'm like, that's something where I'm like, fam, that you must have all the answers, and you're like, hey, I'll give you those answers after I had myself a good nap or a good night's rest. That's crazy. That's something where I'm like, if I'm married, right, I don't care how tired I am. If I'm married and my wife comes up to me and she's all like, babe, I gotta talk to you. I'm like, all right, go. And I'm like, my thing is this, like, if I'm like, yeah, go ahead and talk. If she's like, and it's about something serious, I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't realize. If it's one of, what the thing is this, I was getting ready to say, if I had to like stand up, there was a moment in my life, I remember when I was young, I was standing up and I fell asleep. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe in this day and age where I'm all like, my legs, they done got, a little bit lengthier and stuff. Like, this is back when I was in school, and I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things I'm like, yeah, I might take a fall, and I ain't trying to have that, but yeah, that's crazy. That's one of those things where I'm like, that's, there's like, when somebody said my husband works an extremely physical, demanding job and doesn't sleep well, it takes 10 years of marriage for me not to take the falling asleep during the conversation personally, but it is not about me. He's just a tired being. We have a serious discussion. We've been sitting up in a well-lit room, no serious discussions in bed or in a car. I mean, I don't know. Still, though, I guess, like, yeah, people, I'm telling you, I feel like at times people be, like, trying to justify some stuff in a marriage, and I'm like, it's like, that's married life. No, bro, falling asleep when my thing is this, right? I guess people would ask, like, what would I do on both ends of that situation? Like, I'm the wife and the husband. If I'm the husband and like I said, my wife approaches me and she wants to have a serious conversation, that's one of those things where I'm like, I'll make sure of it before we even get to that point. I'm like, babe, anytime when you need to talk to me about something, I don't care if I'm asleep, I don't care if I'm streaming, I don't care if I'm recording a video, you let me know what you want to talk about, especially if it's on some serious, like, if she's all like, okay, like, I'm gonna hold you up to that, I'm streaming, and she's talking about, what do you think is, like, she told me, she was like, no, we need to have a serious conversation right now, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, guys, I'm ending the stream, or I'm ending the podcast episode, good day to you, blah, 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 and I sit down with her, she's talking about, what do you you think is best, a cat or a dog? And I'm like, you took me away from my job to ask me. I'm like, ma'am, no, please, no. Like, I meant serious, like, you about to have an emotional breakdown serious. I'm like, don't interrupt me on mine. But it's like, that's what I'm saying, communication is key. It's like, you gotta communicate about these things. So I definitely would confront the husband, if I'm that wife, and I'm like, hey, you can't do that no more. You can't fall asleep, and I'm trying to have a serious conversation with you. I ain't talked to nobody about this. You just fall asleep in my face? I'm like, nah, fam, you can't do that no more. So, yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's something where I'm like, yeah, definitely talk with the husband, but yeah, and it's like, if I'm the wife, I'm like, yeah, I'm talking with it. Or if I'm in the wife's shoes, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely talking with the wife, and I'm like, hey, you can't do that no more. I'm like, I done had a serious conversation, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I probably would be a little irritated. It takes a lot to irritate me, but stuff like that, where I feel like I'm not being heard or listened to, yeah, stuff like that irritates me, and I'm like, all right, well, don't be surprised. I'm like, if you trying to, I guess, have a conversation with me, I'm like, oh, now you awake? Now you got a Red Bull going through your system, or a Rain energy drink? I'm like, fam, come on now. So, yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, I guess don't feel bad for getting mad about some stuff like that. So, yeah, it's something where I'm like, yeah, it's, yeah, you just gotta, you gotta talk. Communication is key. But anyways, let's look at some other ones. There's like, my boyfriend told me that he hopes that our kids do not have my skin complexion. Break up with that guy. That is a crazy thing to say to anybody. If I'm in a relationship and she's all like, I just don't want my kids to be black like you, I'm like, define, what do you mean black like me? Like, black on how I act or black on how I look? Because I'm like, regardless of the situation, that kid is half of me. They're half of me and half of you, all right? So overall, my thing is, and that's something where I'm all like, I don't know whoever I am going to marry, if it's going to be a white woman, a Hispanic woman, an Asian woman, whoever. If she says some stuff like that to me, I'm like, the relationship is over. I'm sorry, but it's like, I'm not going to have it where my kids don't even have the support of their mom because they look like me. That's crazy. I'm like, my thing is this, all right? If our kid one day asks you, like, why are you being weird towards me and stuff, you gonna have to sit down and explain that to the kid. And I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna defend you. I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm like, over my kid, yeah, that's one of those things. I'm like, yeah, why don't you like Tyler Jr.? I'm like, what has he done to you? What's going on with this coloring here? I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say. So anyways, so she goes on to say, I was helping with shaving him and told him that I loved his skin and how it looked. I was telling him about how I grew up hating mine because of how I was bullied for it, and that I've come to terms with how I look and that I love my skin now. He looks at me while I'm shaving and says, honestly, I hope none of our kids get your skin color. That's crazy. And I immediately got mad at him because, ouch, why would you ever say that? Now he's telling me that he meant it as a joke and that I'm overreacting. What do I do? How do you mean that as a joke? That's something where I'm like, you don't mean stuff like that as a joke. You don't even say things like that as a joke. She just had a conversation with you talking about how she was bullied over the color of her skin, and it's like, you're all like, oh, well, I know how to, I guess, overall come to some sort of response with what she just said. Let me crack a joke real quick about her skin color. Yeah, that's something where I'm like, yeah, break up with that guy, because I'm like, the thing is this. If it ain't that's going to, I guess, get you to the point where you need to break up with him, then it's going to be something else that he says that's going to be 10 times worse. So, yeah, that's why I'm like, yeah, things like that, no. I'm like, I would instantly break up with that girl. I'm like, nah, fam. Because with me, it's like, I kind of went through something like that when I was younger. I remember not with no conversation like she had, but no, overall, I did have it where I've talked on this before, and I've, it's like I've talked on it quite a few times on my podcast. But anyways, yeah, there was a time back when I was in high school and a girl was like, oh, I can't be with you over the color of your skin. And I guess I don't know. It was like, I just remember years later, I ended up watching this video from this YouTuber, and she kind of explained it how, like, I ain't gonna say everybody, but I guess there are some Hispanic people out there that are not fond of the black race and stuff, and so I'm like, fam, I can't help it. I'm like, it's one of those things. I'm like, my thing is this, all right? I don't know how I'm going to be born into this world the day I was born, all right? But at the same time, I am not going to be upset over the fact that I am black. I'm like, fam, I'm saying, like, the thing is this, yeah, it might be the shortest month in the whole year, but we got a whole month dedicated to us, to our history. And you think my thing is this, and that's why I was like, with that girl, when it came down to putting who I am first, and then her, yeah, I was all like, I pretty much, I had to hit her with something that I'm pretty sure she's very familiar with. Again, she was Hispanic. I gave her the good old fashioned adios. No, bruh, I'm not going to put you over who I am, my history, overall, something that I'm going to be for the rest of my life. I don't know if I'm gonna be with you for the rest of my life. Obviously, I'm not, if that's how it's gonna go out. So, yeah, that's what I was like with that girl. I was like, I wish her the best in life, but overall, I'm like, yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, nah, it ain't gonna work. So, anyways, yeah, it's one of those, I had to quietly cut that girl off, because I'm like, it ain't gonna work. So, yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, and in that relationship, that ain't gonna work. Having it where it's like, you decide, yeah, you guys decide to have kids, and then he's all like, oh, nah, it's like, you're, the kids, they can't look like you. That's crazy. It's like, even if you are joking, that's still a crazy thing to say after what she just said to you, too. So, anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.